Hello and welcome to this video all about the LearnToWrite handwriting scheme of work. LearnToWrite is an explicit, systematic and cumulative handwriting scheme, providing clear, consistent lessons that are simple to teach and age appropriate. The lessons follow a clear revisit, teach, practice, apply routine, ensuring consistency and clarity for teachers, learners and across the whole school. Lessons are delivered through animated and interactive PowerPoint slides that clearly model letter formation and joins, with multiple opportunities to practice before applying. Letters are grouped and taught in letter families, helping children recognise patterns in movement and build muscle memory. The letter families are designed in such a way as to help children understand the shapes of letters through familiar imagery. LearnToWrite handwriting lessons are, of course, multisensory and make full use of mnemonics and visuals to ensure maximum engagement and impact. Now we're going to take a look at the progression of learning. The LearnToWrite progression is split into 3 parts, and within each of those parts there are separate substages. Part 1 focuses on secure formation of single letters. Part 2 introduces pupils to joined handwriting. And Part 3 supports pupils in applying their knowledge of joins to write words and compose sentences. The scheme can be followed through 2 progression pathways. Schools may prefer a more structured approach and follow the year group progression, where the same content is mapped out to align with the academic year from reception to year 3. Alternatively, schools may prefer to adopt a more flexible approach and use the developmental progression following each stage as it comes. This is the timeline structured by year groups. Year 1 should begin the year with a recap of the previous stage, which would be stage 3, and year 2 should begin the year with a recap of the previous stage, which would be stage 6. And this is how the progression looks stage by stage within the 3 parts, if your school would benefit from a bit more flexibility. In both pathways, the progression builds gradually, with each stage carefully layered upon prior knowledge and skills. Pupils are given regular opportunities to revisit and consolidate learning so that handwriting becomes secure and embedded. So let's look at the letter families. The style of this slide is what the children and teachers will see in between the revisit, teach, practice, apply sections of the lesson, so they know what they are doing next. And obviously you can see it's working for us. We know what we're about to do next. We're going to look at some letter families. So these letters are the bendy friends, and they largely all begin by going round the bend and up and down, with some variation on O, S and E. So O goes round the bend and all the way round, S goes round the bend and round the bend again, and E goes up the road and round the bend. So those mnemonics are all very, very similar to ensure that children understand that pattern of movement and that it's fully embedded. These letters are the rainbow pals. So all of these letters go down, back up, and then over the rainbow. Or in the case of P, B and K, they go round the rainbow. And then whatever sort of alternative movement comes after that. The letter F goes backwards over the rainbow, down, flick and cross. These letters are the beanstalk buddies, and they all start by going down the beanstalk. Then there's obviously a variation with dot it or cross it, or down the beanstalk, up and down, as in the case of U and Y. And finally, these letters are the lightning lot. They crash down to the ground and they go, crash, go. They've got that sort of diagonal movement pattern. So as you will have seen, the mnemonics within each family are very similar, and that's to encourage that repetition, so the knowledge of the movement is fully embedded. So now let's take a look at a typical lesson, so you get a feel for how the lessons flow, how you would approach delivering these slides, and the general content you would expect to see. So following the revisit section, we start off with our teach section, which we begin by saying, what are we learning today? So you'll start off by introducing the names of the letters that we're learning how to write. You'll talk about which letter family they're in. Then you'll have a look at whereabouts they start. So it's by the clouds or by the sun. And then you'll start going through the movement of the formation for each letter. So now we are at the practice section. Here the children will practice the formation by tracing with their finger, following along with the animations and saying the mnemonic. So now you can see that the scaffolding is slowly starting to come away. So the letter is losing some of that imagery. And now you can see on the final practice, the scaffolding has completely gone, but the children can still say the mnemonic that goes with it. Then you have the same for the letter D, which we'll speed up here. And it's the same process. And now we're at the apply section. So now it's time to write our letters. So here the teacher can use those lines there to model writing the letter a few times. And when the children are ready, they can then start practicing and applying themselves in the exercise books. And the teacher can take some time to observe and assess. Then we come to the end of the lesson and we say, what did we learn today? And then we just discuss those letters that we learned how to write and anything that the children remember particularly about their formation.
Let's take a look at how joins are taught. Joins are taught to letter families. This is so that children remember the movement pattern to groups of letters, as the movement will be the same. For example, in this lesson, we are teaching joins to the letters U and Y, which are in the same letter family, meaning that that joining pattern is the same to each letter. This is a screenshot of an animated slide that models the movement pattern from a letter. In this case, it's the letter L, and this is the movement of how the join works to the letter U. So this movement pattern is the same for all letters in that family, U, T, I, J, etc.
These are some of the slides that you would expect to see on some of the joins lessons in part 2 and part 3. So on slides like these, where there are multiple examples for children to copy to apply their learning, teachers can use their judgment. So more able children or children who are working at a faster pace might be challenged to write 6 of each join, while those working at a slower pace may be asked just to focus on 1 or try 2 of each. This approach allows all pupils to work at their own level, building confidence without pressure and making sure children who finish quicker aren't sitting there with nothing to do.
Now let's have a look at the worksheets. There are printable worksheets to accompany every lesson, and these work as a great replacement for workbooks and can be printed as and when needed. They are optional, so depending on your setting or need, you may choose to use the worksheets as extra scaffolding, or you can use them for the whole class. There are also adapted worksheets to meet the needs of students with SEND, so how and whether you use the worksheets in lessons is based on need and what works best for individual settings. Now we can just take a quick look at some of the additional resources you get with the scheme. The additional resources include downloadable printable display cards, letter mats or posters, however you choose to use them. There are also some additional worksheets that you can use outside of lessons as follow-up or additional practice.
You can find more information about the scheme in the guidance manual. You can find more information about the letter families. You've got the timeline of progression in there. You've got some teaching guidance, information about additional resources, and also how you can adapt for children with SEND. And so that teachers are also secure in their teaching and to ensure consistency across different classes, in the guidance manual, you've got QR codes there that exemplify how to show each mnemonic and the visuals that go with it as well. So in terms of pricing, it's a £100 annual subscription. And within this subscription, there are no extra costs. You don't need to buy any other additional resources, no workbooks, and there are no scaling costs. So however many classes you have in your school, the price remains the same. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like any further information or you'd like to arrange a meeting, please get in touch at admin@learnphonics.co.uk.